Hello and welcome to BikeWale, and this is the new Jawa 42. It's also called Jawa 42 2.1, and in case you're wondering whatever happened to 2.0, well, that was the BS6 introduction sometime that happened earlier in 2020. Now, before we get into the details about what this new bike is all about, I'm just going to state a few obvious things just in case you've been under the rock for the last 3-4 years. Now, Jawa is not the company is Classic Legends. Jawa is the brand, and Classic Legends sends two motorcycles. It sells this, the 42, and the other one, which is called the Jawa. Now, Jawa, of course, is stuck in the past, so to say. It's a beautiful looking motorcycle, but the design is from way back. This is the more popular motorcycle. All sorts of people have bought the motorcycle: women, young riders, people who want to go touring. And Classic Legend says that they listen to those buyers and they've made changes to this motorcycle depending or based on what those buyers said. And this is the outcome. So now let's see what these changes really are. So plenty of changes on the new 42, but essentially almost all of them are visual. Let's take it one by one. Now you can see that it's got new set of paint hues. Classic Legends is now offering traditional colors in the sense that this is black, you've got a solid red, you've got white. Of course, matte finish looks really good instead of just the pastels. Pastels are also on sale, but these are the additional colors for the new 2.1. You also get a completely blacked out theme, so your exhaust, your engine, your suspension, all of that is now black, and it just takes away from that old school look now that the previous 42 had, or it's still there. I mean, the pastel colors are still available with chrome, but this just gives it a younger, sportier look, which is what I think people wanted. You've also got bar and mirrors now. You've got like a headlamp cowl and a headlamp guard, but these are optional extras. They're not part of the package, while the mirror is. And of course, the big crucial change is that you now get alloy wheels, and with alloy wheels you get tubeless tires. I'm a big fan of tubeless tires. They're convenient. It allows you the freedom to go anywhere, place like this. You're not worried about getting a puncture because you can fix it on the go. So it's a great move there. People who like to travel will appreciate this. And Classic Legend also says that they've increased the ground clearance. There is no major change in terms of suspension. How they've achieved it, they've just gone up on preload. It used to be 0 preload, now this one sits on 1 from the company. You can of course go down again. And there's more clearance from the side stand. I don't know how they've gone about doing that, changing the side stand design or otherwise, but Classic Legend says that now there is more cornering clearance on the motorcycle. The seating ergos haven't changed either, so it's still very easy to swing a leg over, and when you do, you realize that the padding on the seat is a lot cushier now, so people who've been using it for longer distance riding will appreciate that. The handlebar, still the same. You have a wide handlebar, which means good leverage. It's not too far or too near, so you're still sitting pretty upright. And the foot peg positioning is more on the neutral side, but I think for my height it works. But if, let's say, somebody were taller, then you would probably have your knees higher, and then it would seem a little more cramped. Now, if I have another, if my pillion is probably as big as me, then chances are I'm going to end up sitting here, which means I'm going to sit on the grab rail. It's not going to be a very comfortable position to be. Short distance is okay, but not so much on a longer ride. Now, the other thing that I like about the Jawa, always have, it's a very easy motorcycle to move around at the spot. So it's got a decent balance. It's very easy to pick up on the side stand and then move it whatever direction, however direction you want it to be. The only thing that I didn't like, especially with these bar and mirrors, is that even though it's easy to push the motorcycle back and forth, when you do and you want to turn, the bar and mirror gets in the way. So if you're pushing straight up, straight down, no problem, but let's say you turn and you want to push, it constantly hurts you here. So a different design of the bar and mirror might have been a good idea, but otherwise, whether you're short, If you're probably not as well fed as me, even then, I think this motorcycle with its weight distribution, accessibility, makes a lot of sense. Like the seating ergos, the powertrain continues unchanged as well. It's still a liquid-cooled single-cylinder 293cc engine. The engine is still mated to a 6-speed gearbox, and the power and torque output figures continue to be nearly 27 bhp and 27 newton meters respectively. Ditto for the cycle parts. It's still a dual cradle frame that's suspended on telescopic forks up front and preload adjustable twin coil-over units at the rear. You still get a 280mm disc at the front and a 240mm one at the rear with dual-channel ABS to handle the braking duties. And you continue to get 90/90 18-inch and 120/80 17-inch MRF rubber front and back respectively. Now, how does all this translate on the road? To begin with, you have quite a friendly motorcycle for something that displaces 300cc. The low seat height, the low center of gravity, and the friendly and linear power delivery help. So be it pottering around in the city in stop-and-go traffic, or thumbing it in the morning because you ran out of bread, or just riding to work, the 42 doesn't require planning regarding time of day or road surface or the route one might take. You just get on and ride, and it's mostly hassle-free. And the exhaust note, it sounds nice too, especially at lower revs. And when you want to open the taps, there's enough grunt to keep even the enthusiast in you interested. It gets off the line well, the rideability through the gears is good if not exactly very strong, and it feels home even around the twisty stuff. Yes, it's not the quickest to drop into corners, and it also doesn't enjoy quick direction changes. But dial things back just a couple of notches and the handling on the 42 is surprisingly good. There's decent cornering clearance for the average Joe. There's good grip and feedback from the MRF tires. And the 42, it doesn't wallow or buckle too much when leaned over, even over wavy or bumpy roads. And because the power delivery is so predictable and linear, one can give it fistful of throttle at corner exits and not worry about a thing. Braking again works for the bike. The bite isn't too aggressive or mushy, and it returns good feel as well. So one can confidently lean on the brakes entering corners, but again, when ridden at least 2 notches below maximum commitment. Now on poor roads, over bumps, through potholes or even over undulations, the new 42 won't leave you cursing or holding your back or behind in pain post the ride. We won't term the ride quality as plush, and through a seriously deep pothole, it can end up hammering your back. But for most part, the ride remains predictable, reasonably absorbent, and it is nowhere close to backbreaking. And add to it the tubeless tires, and one can finally explore roads, no roads, gravel paths and the like without having to worry about removing the wheels, flagging down another motorist and finding a tire shop in the middle of nowhere just in case you have a puncture. So is the Jawa 42 a much nicer motorcycle now? Well, visually, I think it certainly is. The whole thing about going with solid colors, the blacked out theme, the alloy wheels, the tubeless tires, all of this, I personally feel will draw in a new set of buyers, a younger set of buyers, people who have been sitting on the fence who are not sure, because now this looks like a more current and sportier motorcycle than it did. It of course retains all its inherent positives, so it's got an accessible seat height, a very friendly power delivery, and the braking again, it's potent, but it's not something that is overbearing or something that will scare you. So in that sense, the Jawa 42 now is a more desirable motorcycle. Now, even in this 2.1 version, I think the 42 still has some way to go when it comes to, the fit and finish and the quality levels compared to a mainstream series production motorcycle. Now, on this particular motorcycle, we've got the suspension rough and unfinished there. You've got the fork covers. There's a clear line, so it's not seamless. It's needed to be like a proper cylinder with, so when you look at it, it just doesn't seem like it's a job that's finished. Also, the finish on the neck. of the chassis. It seems like it's been sanded off instead of being like one nice cast piece. The side panel on the other side, we opened it, the rubber beading, it just fell off. That's not something that you expect from a series motorcycle. And I'm also not a fan of these bar end mirrors. Bar end mirrors look nice, but they have to be designed well. These, they just, like get in the way when you want to move the motorcycle. Which I think these are small things that Classic Legend needs to work on and iron out if this motorcycle, or if Classic Legends wants to make Jawa, either the Jawa or the Jawa 42, a mainstream motorcycle acceptable for a lot of people. So should you finally buy the Jawa 42 version 2.1? Now this one costs a little over 2 lakhs, thereabouts on the road. So at that price, it's not really a no-brainer purchase, but it is a good-looking motorcycle, and it's a good-looking motorcycle that does your bidding, whatever you ask of it. So commute, check. Ride up the twisties, check. Taking a lazy tour of many days, check. So it does all of that. Now, I get it that there are other motorcycles, better finished motorcycles around the similar price point that will also do these things, and in varying degrees, good, better, best. But the point is, you buy the Jawa 42, especially in this guys, you buy it because it pulls at your heartstrings. And then for it to be able to do or perform like any everyday motorcycle, in my book, is just an added plus. So go with your heart. If you go with your heart, you can buy this. Clearly, I think it'll be something that you'll be happy with in the time to come.